Hey everyone, before I start the video, I want to give a thanks to JaidenAnimations along with all the moderators at Speedrun.com and just anyone who's had a hand in the game recently. I think it's really awesome how it's been blowing up over the last 2 weeks, and I think we're at about 300 active players, and I really hope you can keep it that way. If you haven't heard what all the hype is about, Jaiden recently released a video about her first speedrun, which was Cookie Mama 2. So if you haven't heard about Cookie Mama 2, you've never seen it, or you have no idea what a speedrun is, I recommend you check out her video, and I'm going to be explaining some of that as well. Seeing her video is actually what motivated me to do my first speedrun too. I've been a longtime fan of AGDQ and watching Mario Sunshine speedruns, but I just never attempted it because I thought it was too hard. But Cookie Mama 2 really is a good game to get into speedrunning with. The game's really binary. The recipes always give you a command on what you have to do, so it's something that you can just get into right from the get-go without having to practice all these mechanics. Because of seeing her video, that's why I did it, and now I have the world record for doing all golds, which is getting a gold on every recipe or 100%. I've cut her time about in half, so that's why I thought I'd make a video explaining my tips and tricks, some of the things she covered in her video and my critiques of them, and then just how you can get into speedrunning it at a more optimized fashion. So I'm going to get right into that, and let's go. Alright, so just getting into it, in case you didn't know, Cookie Mama 2 has 80 recipes, 10 pages, 8 recipes per page, and yeah. Also, sorry that my game is in Japanese. That's how I learned, and it is a little faster when it comes to trying to speedrun the game. The level transitions are a little bit faster, and also the text scrolls by a little bit faster and smoother. So if you're trying to do a speedrun, I think you should do it in Japanese. I highly recommend it, because it can save a large amount of time over a whole run. But generally do play in English if it's your first time, just so you can learn the recipes and names, because I didn't do that at all. But getting into this first recipe, you'll see you don't even need to know English because it's pretty straightforward. A picture pops up and it tells you to put in the pot, put in the bowl, whatever. It's not hard at all. There's maybe one or two where you might need to know what it's saying, but you learn it by doing it once. Nonetheless, I want to show you something. If you notice in that one, is the pictures popped up instantly when we were doing it that time, and they're popping up instantly this time as well. That's really good RNG, and it's one of the few times RNG really comes into play in this game. Because this one only has 4 ingredients you add to the bowl, but there are times where you have to add about 10 ingredients to the bowl. And this is bad RNG when you get the blocks, because the blocks obviously take longer and they can fall in a bad pattern where you can't be sure of what you're seeing. And in this game, it's so much better to go slow than to take a risk like that, because when you're talking the 15th step of a recipe, you cannot mess it up or you are going to lose 8 minutes or so. In my run, I got pretty good RNG with those, but that's one of the few factors you really can't control. Something else I want to show you before getting into Jaiden's video is the blowing mechanic. You can go over here to set up in configuration, go to microphone settings, not microphone settings, you go to hotkey configuration, and then right here you're going to put microphone. I have it labeled as M, and then there's going to be some tasks, there's maybe 3 in the game where you have to hit that button when a little blow picture blows up, and it's one of the advantages I think of playing on DS. Is that you don't have to do that and you can actually blow, but also this isn't hard at all. It is a bit finicky though, it will not pick up the input just because of how the ROM works and everything. Generally talking about advantages though of different formats, I will say I think mouse and keyboard is by far the best to go with. I've seen the best times that people play on mouse and keyboard, but also when it comes to a stylus, I tried that, and I know people have tried that, and your wrist gets so worn out. My wrist already gets worn out doing a 4-hour speedrun on a mouse that it's just so hard. I think if you have a stylus, though, it is a very good way to do it, and there are some advantages when it comes to like cutting lines and doing like pasta and stirring, because you have to feel a lot more connected to the game. The DS is rough because I think you lose inputs and it's a small screen and it's tough. But anyways, moving on to Jaiden's run, I want to go on to some of the hard things she struggled with. The first one being mango pudding. This was her absolute run killer that she lost about probably 40 minutes to. For this one, it's a 9-step recipe, but at the last step, you have to throw the pudding or whatever it is out of the tin. If you go too fast, it crumbles like that. If you go too slow, it just won't come out of the container. Like that. Now you can see that there's a line that tells you the distance to go. And my tip and trick for this one is if you're struggling on it, because it can be a run killer. I would have had to restart on my final run if I didn't get it perfectly. What you're going to do is you're going to start at the back, and then you're going to go as fast as you can to the line. I know I said you can go too fast, but I don't think the game picks it up if you stop right in front of the line. If you stop right at the tip of the arrow. So that's definitely what I recommend, and it's never failed me. Definitely a trick everyone should learn. Now, skipping past that, it is a finicky one where you should keep practicing it, as a few more are before you do a run. The rest are binary, as I've said a few times. The next one being boiling. That is definitely one of the biggest ones in this game. It comes up about 3 or 4 times. Now, the third to last recipe in the game requires you to boil as the 14th step of a recipe, which is so late. If you mess it up, you were talking a 8 to 9 minute time loss, and it's something people just can't afford. So the whole task is get this diamond in the dark green. Now, what I do is I wait for it to hit about the 10:45 or just the 45-minute mark on the clock, and then I put it up to in between medium and hot, and I just kind of feel it out. You can't really stir if you're doing mouse and keyboard. I've seen some people stir that use a stylus, and that's one of the advantages, but I really think it's still better to stick with mouse and keyboard. That's something you also have to practice a few times, because these 2 recipes also use it, and it can be a little troublesome, especially when you reach this recipe, which is the one where it's at the end. So it's definitely worth getting down before you do it. There's also the cooking times for this. This one is 4 ingredients. Each meat and everything has a clock to it, which you can just remember. It's very simple. Chicken is about 13 seconds, so you can just count to 13. I'm not doing it right now, so I might even mess up because I'm not keeping a mental note. There are visual cues like this May Brown, except I have 5 or 6 things. Like when I do that, I have no idea what is what. I'm going to assume that was 10 seconds and I hope it cooks perfectly. This is one I would just say, look at your clock when you're doing a run, or keep a little internal clock. It's very simple. And that's about it for the hard ones. Practice the pasta cutting 2 and the egg cracking. Those ones are pretty chill though, because they're so early in a recipe that if you have to restart it, it's a few seconds lost. Something you get down in your first playthrough. Personally, I've only played the game a few times through, maybe 3 or 4 times through. So it's definitely somewhere where, definitely a game, it's so simple to get into because of how it's formatted that you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. But now to get into the big part that Jaiden talked about in her videos, and where I think this game can be optimized, is presents. In this game, presents are, you get them at the end of recipes based on how well you do. Each task has a bonus to it, which I will show you. Let's see, let's do pie, because pie is one where you can get about 3 or 4 bonuses. When it comes to this one, the apples, you have to peel the apples. If you do it fast enough, you'll get a bonus. And bonuses are a problem because each present that you get burns about 14 seconds. I would say that if someone wanted to optimize this game, they would definitely need to learn the present statistic for each part of the game, each recipe. Here, I'll show you when the bonus pops up though. So right there, that right there is the bonus. You get 5 of those, and then you get a star. And you know, on a lengthy recipe of 14 steps and whatnot, then you're gonna get 2 presents, and you're gonna eat up 28 seconds. And the max you can get on one recipe is 4, which I did one time, which is just unfortunate. You don't want to do that, and you really want to avoid it as much as possible. There are normally, if you do want to avoid that, the clock is going to hit the half mark, and once it hits half, then you can finish the task and you won't get a bonus. That's kind of troublesome because when you're doing 80 recipes, an average of 7 steps per recipe, you're going to just waste time by trying to do that. So I think from what I've seen in general, stick to just doing recipes as fast as you can, and it doesn't matter how many bonuses you get, just sit through it and take it. There are some recipes that you could learn though. This one is a prime example where it isn't based off time, it's based off the quality you do. So in the final step, you have to imprint Cookie Mama's face on it. And if you do it decently, yeah, so right there I got a bonus because I did it good. If I do it, okay, I also did that one really good. But if you just do it normal, you don't get a bonus. Oh my god, I'm getting bonuses. That one. So right there, normal like that, you don't get a bonus. So you should just do them all subpar, or good enough to get a gold, which is what I'm doing. Just tap it for like half a second. Hold it too long, you're gonna get a bonus. You don't want the bonus. That's 14 seconds eaten up. I'm not gonna show that because then that would be, 48 seconds of the video would just be me getting bonuses. But I think you'll get the point. Obviously, you need to do the task still right, or you're gonna fail like that. But that is gonna be definitely the biggest thing if someone's gonna optimize it. I don't know how much more time I'm gonna be putting into this game now that I have the record, which I do personally think is gonna be pretty tough to beat unless someone got. If they beat me, it's going to be by a few seconds, or it's going to be because you learned the present mechanics. I'm so busy with my, my chemical engineering classes in university, along with the desire to spend any free time I have just working on my streaming my speedruns, that I don't think I can really optimize much more. Or I don't have much more time I want to spend on this game. But if one of you beats my record, you can be sure I'm coming for you. This is another one that's finicky, that's much easier on a stylus, is you have to get the churro length like that. It keeps dragging unless you control it. It kind of has a pull motion. But nonetheless, that's all I really have for this video, guys, is to do the tips and tricks with the boiling and when it comes to the flan. And I'd really like to hear what you guys have in terms of like present optimization, and if anyone has any tips or tricks on the video, I'd love to hear it. Just let me know. Alright guys, so that's all I have for the video. If you liked it, please just leave a like and subscribe, and also, if you liked it, give me a BongoCat in the comments for my boy over here, all caps of course. Yeah, I hope a lot of people see this. I hope you guys like it. I'll try to post more. I want to get into speedrunning other games like Mario Sunshine and stuff. So let me know if you guys have any advice in the comments or how you think I can improve. I know I talk pretty fast, but a lot of content, and thanks for sitting through it, guys.